In the Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2024, second reading.
Njeri, Maina, that's your bill. Are you ready to move?
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. The majority leader was trying to distract me. I was telling him that he's mentioning me so positively many times, he might send different signals to my political affiliation. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the Health Amendment Bill 2024. And this bill, in a nutshell, seeks to criminalize.
Njeri, I know you are a first timer. When you move your bill, first you just read it as it is. I beg to move that the Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2024, be now read a second time. Then you start your discourse.
KJ misled me, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for that guidance.
KJ, you are supposed to mentor, not to mislead new members. Go on, Njeri.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Health Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2024, be read for the second time. I will never forgive KJ. Honorable Speaker, the Health Amendment Bill, in a nutshell, seeks to make it illegal to detain dead bodies in hospitals or mortuary facilities. It also seeks to make it illegal to demand prepayment of any kind prior to offering of emergency treatment. Honorable Speaker, we've had a rich discourse with the Health Committee in regard to this bill. Initially, it had proposed that this is criminalized for both public and private facilities. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, and I put it on the floor so that members can take it up, we arrived at a consensus that these amendments are only directed at public facilities, which is insufficient and does not cater to the urgent need to ensure that all Kenyans are treated equally and have their right to dignity protected and access to health care protected as per the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, before I delve into the issues, allow me to appreciate the selfless input of the Budget Committee, the Health Committee, the Parliament's Legal Department, who, despite my incessant prodding and numerous intellectual exchanges, never tired until we reached a consensus which is before this floor. This bill is personal to me. It is personal to the members of Parliament. It is personal to Kenyans. And I recognize that several members here have attended health-related funds drives for the families who perhaps have limited financial capacity because we are not equal in this life. Honorable Speaker, while Kenya now takes pride as having enacted universal health coverage, our momentous journey towards achieving access to health care for all, the lived experience of many Kenyans reflects otherwise. This bill proposes targeted amendments to the Health Act, Cap 241, to address two urgent issues that have been affecting Kenyans. The first being the demand for prepayment before emergency medical treatment is provided, and the detention or hostage taking of dead bodies by hospitals and mortuaries as collateral for unpaid medical bills. Honorable Speaker, this bill gives teeth to the constitutional right to emergency medical treatment, and Article 43(2) of the Constitution of Kenya and safeguards the right to dignity as provided by Article 28. Honorable Speaker, the law as it is lacking. The court's decisions and pronouncements, the High Court in particular, in regard to the issue of detaining dead bodies as collateral, given, or the rationale behind it being that dead bodies, no matter how long they are detained in facilities, will never accrue any objective in a manner that they cannot be sold for profit. But the hospital and mortuaries continue to detain the bodies of Kenyans who have passed on, who perhaps come from financially incapacitated families, to ensure that they have drained them emotionally so that they can pay the bill. Honorable Speaker, the right to emergency treatment must be protected by this House. This expands the scope of emergency care to cover treatment at the scene, during transport, and through to the hospital. It also creates an offense for demanding prepayment, where any person held liable will be fined to a tune of Kenya shillings 3 million. These amendments further create an offense for detaining dead bodies where any public officer in a healthcare facility who has either facilitated or authorized detainment of a dead body shall be fined to a tune of Kenya shillings 2 million. Honorable Speaker, it further imposes a duty on all public sector healthcare providers to ensure that medical costs do not impede attention to emergency treatment. Honorable Speaker, like I have said, this is a lived experience. The Kenyatta National Hospital issued a public notice regarding 262 unclaimed bodies in the last year. Honorable Speaker, in June 2025, a further 124 unclaimed bodies were subjected to a similar notice. Many of these remain unclaimed precisely because families cannot afford the bills due to the harsh realities of the economic life in Kenya. To give life to this bill, Honorable Speaker, and the amendments therein, I want to reiterate that this is not mere rhetoric. This is not politics, Honorable Speaker. This bill is for the sake of the many Kenyans who are still unable to cater for their medical bills, or those of their loved ones once they're deceased. Honorable Speaker, the Mater Hospital in 2025 detained the body of a Kenyan by the name Caroline Tito, a widow, a mother of 2 college-age sons, for over 2 months for the failure to pay Kenya shillings 3.3 million. Honorable Speaker, from a human perspective, I want to pose a question to this House. Were the 2 college-age sons, did they have the capacity, even if they had wanted to clear the medical bill so that they could lay their mother to rest? Another further human experience and the human face of this bill is the Kenyatta Memorial Funeral Home. Honorable Speaker, this is a matter that I personally litigated in offering my pro bono services to Kenyans who cannot afford to pay for legal services. Honorable Speaker, this matter of the dead body hearing was one young, promising youth by the name Kelvin. Honorable Speaker, Kelvin was a medical student, straight A's from school, sponsored by the community, graduated, and then came to Nairobi to seek for employment opportunities. Unfortunately, he did not find any employment opportunity in regard to the course he had studied for. So like any other hardworking youth in Kenya, he started a border business. While going home on one unfortunate night, Kelvin was hit on the Thika superhighway by a public transport vehicle, and he was admitted under emergency care at the Kenyatta University Teaching Referral Hospital. Unfortunately, he accrued a bill to a tune of Kenya shillings 1.2 million. His mother could not be able to raise it. Kelvin had a wife and a young son. When I litigated this matter, Honorable Speaker, it gave me the perspective, and I want the members to put themselves in the shoes of Kelvin's mother, who was a squatter, who did not have any property she could have sold to get the body of her only son, who was a straight-A student, had come to Nairobi to seek for better opportunity. But unfortunately, he had encountered an incident where he passed on. Every day his mother called me for 6 months as I litigated in court. And it broke my heart because I didn't know what to tell her. You know, some days we'd go to court, there'd be the bureaucracy of the judicial system, and every day she was hoping that she could find closure by laying Kelvin to rest. Kelvin deserved to have been given his right to dignity, to be accorded a funeral as per the African custom and traditions. Honorable Speaker, he couldn't because Kenyatta Memorial Funeral Home withheld his body for close to a year, emotionally draining his family. His mother had to do numerous harambees, and we know the economic situation in the village setup. They could not manage to raise the Kenya shillings 1.2 million. It might be pocket change for some people. But even Kenya shillings 500 in the village is a lot of money. And ultimately, this matter came to a conclusion. The court, the magistrate's court at Ruiru, ruled that a dead body, even if it is detained for 10 years, it will never be property that can be sold to recover the unpaid medical bills. Honorable Speaker, Pumwani Maternity Hospital, the High Court ruling of 2015. Maimuna Omoya was unable to pay a mere 6,000 Kenya shillings that was required so that she could be discharged. She was detained at the facility with her newborn for nearly a month. And every time, every day, the bill kept accruing. Honorable Speaker, the courts have been clear. They have pronounced themselves. It is upon this House to pass these amendments, to legislate, to give judicial legitimacy to the decisions by our courts of law. Honorable Speaker, from a human perspective, And because we are Africans, we know that it is custom for us to bury the dead, to lay them to rest, so that we can find closure and move on with the day-to-day life. There are families that are denied that by hospital facilities, just merely because they are financially incapable. It is not a case of not wanting to. I do not think anyone would want to leave their kin, someone that they loved, someone they shared and spent time with in this life, rotting away in a mortuary facility instead of doing as per our customs. Honorable Speaker, we are reminded again of emergency services. We say we have SHA that is supposed to cater for all Kenyans, but is that the reality, Honorable Speaker? I'll tell you the reality. Or like Kenyans say, quote unquote, vitu kwa ground. A young man in Kirinyaga County was playing football at a field near Kutus. He collapsed and was rushed to a nearby county medical facility. Unfortunately, he could not be admitted because he had apparently not paid for SHA. Access to emergency services. We must ensure that medics that deny emergency services to Kenyans, who prioritize financial gain while a Kenyan is losing their life, they are culpable and that they are held so by the law and fined as per these amendments. Honorable Speaker, the realities, when we remember the baby who had a fork djembe in his head, went to Kenyatta National Hospital, the mother could not afford to raise 20,000 for that child to be treated. Unfortunately, due to the delay in attaining the dire emergency services, that baby succumbed while waiting for treatment on the bench of a facility that should have ensured that he's alive today, going to school like other children, and even given hope to his parents to see him grow and perhaps be like one of us here in future. Honorable Speaker, jurisdictions across the world have ratified through legislation the provisions that I am pushing bill. Canada have legislation that prioritizes emergency care and ensures that everyone, despite their financial capacity, can access the same. And then, honestly, the money must come after the human life has been saved. Someone asked me a very pertinent question. How will the hospitals recover their monies? And my answer was simple. Civil litigation, Honorable Speaker. A medical bill is a debt. In general practice, if someone owes you money, you make an application to the court, the matter is heard and determined, and if they had any assets after their liabilities had been paid off, then it is prioritized as a debt to be paid by the estate of that person. But the reality is that these families have no assets. It is not a case of they will not, they cannot, they have no capacity to pay. And even if, like I have insisted, the body was detained for 10, 20 years, it can never be sold for even Kenya shillings 1 bob. So it is a humane perspective. We've also recommended that there be a mechanism or a policy to determine needy families or cases so that persons who are actually able to pay for these services do not take advantage. Honorable Speaker, the Supreme Court of India in Katara versus Union of India, 1989, established that no hospital may refuse emergency treatment to save a life, regardless of their ability to pay. I know we have medics in the House, and I know that they do take an oath, just like lawyers do, take an oath to defend justice when it calls for it. I want to implore upon this House to pass these amendments, to develop this bill further, to ensure that even private facilities are also culpable, equally culpable. They should not be left out because human life is more important and must be more important than financial gain. Honorable Speaker, Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya provides that every person has a right to the highest attainable standard of health, including the right to healthcare services. These amendments will protect and safeguard and actualize implementation of that right. Honorable Speaker, Section 137 of the Penal Code makes it an offense to unlawfully hinder the burial of a dead body. But if dead bodies are detained in mortuary facilities, that for Kenyans that this bill reinforces. Honorable Speaker, it is therefore our duty as members of Parliament to ensure that we pass this legislation, we improve it, we develop it, we make it richer when it comes to that stage so that we can protect Kenyans. This bill will restore the dignity in death. This bill will give judiciary precedent, the legislative backing. This bill will align with the global health standards. It is bipartisan, it is human, it does not know the majority side, it does not know the minority side, it does not know Wamunyoro, it does not know any political affiliations. It is a bill for Kenyans. Let us take it as such when we debate. Let us enrich the debate. And Honorable Speaker, because I know many members, I had requested them to stay behind so they could contribute to this. I will not belabor, and I can tell they are convinced the way they are shaking their heads in conviction. Even the majority leader is convinced. I would like to call upon the immediate. I move. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and now request the immediate former chair of the Health Committee, Dr. Robert Pukose, to second. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't think anybody would have moved that bill better than you've done it. I think you've done it the right way. If we were in a court of law, I'm sure the judge would have tilted your way almost immediately. Take your seat for a minute. For the convenience of the House, I would like us to go back to order number 5 and allow the majority leader to table a number of papers, then we'll